Were hundreds of Russian government officials, oligarchs.
They have no intention to negotiate. They want to eject Russian forces from.
If you believe the Western press, is quite unwell and may not be able to sustain this for long.
Russia just sent a warning to the West. Is a new Cold War coming? Welcome back to our channel, where we provide you with the latest geopolitical news and analysis. In today's video, we discuss Russia's recent seizure of foreign firms' assets and what it means for the relationship between Russia and the West. But before we dive in the video, first, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe and like button below to stay updated on our content. Now let's dive into the details. On April 24th, Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a decree that allows the Kremlin to introduce temporary state control over the assets of companies or individuals from unfriendly states, including the US and its allies, that make or threaten to make similar moves. This decree is a signal of caution to the West, and especially the European Union, which is discussing whether frozen Russian assets should be used in the reconstruction of Ukraine. For the first time during the ongoing Ukraine war, Russia has put utilities owned by two firms, Finland's Fortum Oyj and its former Germany subsidiary Uniper, under state control. The Kremlin has long threatened to nationalize the assets of companies that leave Russia, especially after Germany took over and nationalized the local arm of Russia's oil giant Rosneft and natural gas producer Gazprom. Both Uniper and Fortum have tried to offload their Russia stakes since the war began. But Russia has not allowed it, owing to a decree that prohibits Western investors from selling their stakes in Russian businesses that involve the production and supply of heat and electricity without special permission from the president. Now, their stakes in these utilities are untouched, but Fortum and Uniper cannot exercise much control over them. This move by Russia is seen as a warning shot to the West, as the Kremlin is trying to browbeat foreign firms by seizing their assets in Russia. External management is temporary and means that the original owner no longer has the right to make management decisions. The external manager receives powers that allow it to guarantee the efficiency of businesses based on their importance for the Russian economy, according to the Federal Agency for State Property Management. Let's look at the numbers. Uniper's stake in Dnipropetrovsk is 83.73%, which operates 5 power plants in Russia and employs around 4,300 people. Fortum's stake in Fortum Pejsky is 98.2%, which has 7 thermal power plants in the Ural region and western Siberia. It also boasts of a 3.4 gigawatt wind and solar portfolio. Fortum has a total impairment charge of 1.7 billion euros, $1.87 billion, related to its Russian operation, while Uniper booked a loss of 4.4 billion euros. Andrei Kostin, the CEO of the state-owned bank VTB, suggested on Monday, April 24, that Moscow take over the assets of foreign companies in Russia and only return them when sanctions over the war in Ukraine are lifted. In the interview broadcast on the Russia 24 television channel, he specifically cited Fortum as an example. It's not just these two companies that are at risk. Other foreign firms operating in Russia are also feeling the heat. For example, Wintershall Dea, a European oil and gas company that is in the middle of exiting Russia, has warned that Russia's policies are unpredictable and unreliable. Its CEO, Mario Meherin, said that Wintershall remains unaffected for now, but he cannot say what the future holds. So why is Russia retaliating now? Recently, news emerged that the group of 7, G7, countries are possibly weighing a near-total ban on exports to Russia, extending existing sanctions as a penalty for Moscow's refusal to call off its Ukrainian invasion. The Russian President, Vladimir Putin, signed a decree that lets the Kremlin introduce temporary state control over the assets of companies or individuals from unfriendly states, including the US and its allies, which make or threaten to make similar moves. The decree is a signal of caution to the West, and in particular to the European Union, which is discussing whether frozen Russian assets should be used in the reconstruction of Ukraine. The recent actions by Russia have raised concerns that a new Cold War may be on the horizon. The West and Russia have been at odds for years over a variety of issues, including Ukraine, Syria, and election interference. With tensions rising, it is possible that the two sides may engage in a new Cold War, with each side taking steps to weaken the other economically and politically. The consequences of a new Cold War between the West and Russia would be significant. Economic sanctions, trade restrictions, and other measures could harm the economies of both sides, leading to a decline in living standards for millions of people. The risk of military conflict could also increase as both sides seek to protect their interests and influence around the world. In conclusion, the recent actions by Russia to seize the assets of foreign firms operating in the country are a warning shot to the West. The move is a signal of caution to the European Union and the United States as tensions continue to rise between the two sides. The potential for a new Cold War between the West and Russia is a real possibility, with significant consequences for both sides. As the world watches and waits, the question remains: will the West and Russia find a way to resolve their differences peacefully? Or will they engage in a new Cold War that could have significant consequences for the world? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more geopolitical content. Thanks for watching, and see you in the comments section in future videos.